There is something very dangerous about the MAGA GOP party. It's the rhetoric that Trump is saying, and it's the legit politicians that are trying to clean it up. That's the scary part. Donald Trump on Sunday did a interview with Maria Bartiromo for Fox News, and I want you to pay attention because she asked him about the bureaucrats, meaning the politicians, meaning his ops, the opposition, the Democrat Party, the liberals. She asked him about bureaucrats.
How are you going to guard against the bureaucrats undermining you?
Well, they're going to undermine. Well, I always say, so we have two enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and all these countries, because if you have a smart president, he can handle them pretty easily. I got along great with all. I handled them. But the thing that's tougher to handle are these lunatics that we have inside, like Adam Shifty Schiff.
Okay, and for the most part, Trump stayed on topic. He talked about politicians, but it's scary because now he said a name. He's targeting a specific politician. It's Democrat Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is a congressman from California, and he's running from the Senate, and it looks like he's going to win that seat. Donald Trump is afraid of him being a senator because of what he did in the House. He was the man that almost got Trump impeached. He served on that impeachment committee the first time around. You know, the Russia. That's Adam Schiff. He's afraid of Adam Schiff, but that's not why I'm calling you here. I got you here because Donald Trump wants to use the military. He says this later on in the interview. He wants to use the military to go after his political enemies. And listen to the governor of North Carolina. Just listen.
Governor, you heard some of the language that Mr. Trump used over the weekend. What do you think of this idea of, quote, we have some sick people, radical left lunatics, and I think it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, the National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military. Is that something that you support?
Jake, first of all, thank you for having me. And I guess what I want to just make very clear is that it's my belief that what former President Trump is talking about are the people that are coming over the border, that in fact are committing crimes, that are bringing drugs, that are trafficking humans, and that are turning every state into a border state.
I was going to put that clip back in there, but I want you to just go ahead and rewind. Did Trump say anything about illegal immigrants? He only talked about two things in that clip. He talked about international affairs, he talked about foreign leaders, and he talked about his political enemies. He never once said anything about immigrants. Now, he did speak about immigrants later on, but that's not what Jake Tapper is talking about, and he confirms it. Keep listening.
I'm not saying that at all. Obviously, there is a border crisis. Obviously, there are too many criminals who should not be in this country, and they should be jailed and deported completely. But that's not what I'm talking about, because he was talking about sick people, radical left lunatics who should be handled by the National Guard or the military. And then later on in that same speech, he said that one of the lunatics he addressed was Congressman Adam Schiff. That's who he was talking about using the National Guard and military against, radical left lunatics, enemy from within, people like Adam Schiff.
Again, Jake, I don't think that and again, I can't,
I'm just reading
I can't speak
quotes
for him. But I do think that you are misinterpreting and misrepresenting his thoughts. I do believe, again, it's all around the fact that we have had an unprecedented number of illegal immigrants come over the border in an unconstrained, unrestrained fashion.
Once again, did Donald Trump say anything about immigrants? Jake Tapper even said it. Like, look, I agree with you. If immigrants are committing murder, if they're here and they're not supposed to be here, if they're here illegally, get them out. Jake Tapper conceded that to him, and he said, I can't read his mind. However, I think what he's saying is not political enemies. He's talking about immigrants. Jake Tapper tries to fix it again.
That is what I believe the president is referring to. I don't think that he's referring to elected people in America. But I'm
literally reading his quotes. I'm literally reading his quotes to you. And I played them earlier so you could hear that they were not made up by me. He's literally talking about, quote, radical left lunatics. And then one of those lunatics he addressed, he mentioned, was Congressman Adam Schiff. Criminals should be locked up. Migrants who are in this country illegally, who are violent, should be locked up and deported. I grant you all of that, and I am not denying that it's happening at all.
So,
I am
Jake,
talking about,
Jake,
but I'm talking about Donald Trump saying that he wants to use the National Guard and the military to go after the left. That's what he's saying.
I don't believe that's what he's saying. But listen, you and I are going to argue about that. But I would suggest if you would also.
I played the quote and I read it to you.
If you would also
you
balance
can wish that he weren't saying that, but that's what he's saying.
Jake, all the time people are taking little snippets of content and turning it into a big narrative. I think exactly what he's concerned about, because I've heard him express it before, are the number of national security risks, violent criminals, and folks who are coming into this country where we don't know where they are, that are committing crimes and put people's safety at risk.
What can I say? What can I say? Jake Tapper said, I literally showed you the video, the audio of him saying it, and I read to you what I showed you. And he still said, I don't believe that's what he meant. This is the problem with the GOP. This is the problem with the Republican Party. They are excusing his behavior. It's like at the grocery store when you see a badass kid in the grocery store. And you tell the mom, or you go up to the mom and say, hey, you might want to handle him. Oh, he hasn't had his snacks yet. No, you beat his little ass. You tell him to quit playing with the glass jar jelly before he break it. You don't excuse him for his misbehaving. That's what the Republican Party is doing for Trump. That's why he can ramp it up. He can continue to defy political norms and social norms because he got the smarty art people. He got the people who's been doing this for a very long time, who know policy, who know what it's like to be politicians and shake hands and kiss babies. They're excusing his behavior. They're legitimizing him so he can continue to go off the rails because they're just going to clean it up. That's exactly how you get a Mussolini, a Stalin, a Lenin, and a Hitler. I'm not saying Trump is like those guys. I'm saying by excusing his behavior, you get people like that. What do you think?